I'm filling this package for a soldier who is fighting far, far away. I hope it brightens somebody's mind.
For a few days every year, especially around the holidays, hundreds of volunteers crowd a National Guard armory in Van Nuys, California, making boxes bound for war. They're packed with little bits of home, new toothbrushes, DVDs, Girl Scout cookies, hand-knit scarves, things that can make life in the combat zone easier, or at least bearable. The name on the side says it all.
Hi.
Carolyn Blashek founded Operation Gratitude 8 years ago.
I think there are those who would say we pulled our troops out of Iraq. There are fewer forces in Afghanistan. Is there really still a need for all these care packages?
There's absolutely still a need for care packages. There are still hundreds of thousands of troops who are away from home, away from their loved ones, at all times of the year, but especially now during the holidays, and they deserve to be remembered.
You might expect this from a veteran or Army wife, but Blashek is neither. She's a civilian who earned a law degree at Columbia University before becoming a full-time mom, living in the quiet security of an upscale LA suburb. Then came September 11th and the start of the war in Afghanistan.
I looked at my children at that point, who at the time, I guess, were 14 and 16. And I remember thinking, well, this is a war that could go on, but I've already lived half my life and they're just starting out. So I don't want them to be the ones to have to bear this burden. Let me go right now.
So Carolyn Blashek did what very few mothers of two might do. She went off to join the Marines. After being politely told that at age 46 she was too old to enlist, Blashek wound up volunteering at a military lounge at the LA airport.
I was in the facility by myself one afternoon, and a soldier walked in very distraught. So we sat down, and he explained to me that he was just on emergency leave to bury his mother. His wife had left him, and his only child had died as an infant. He had no one left in his life. And he said to me, for the first time in my 20-year career, I'm going to a war. I know I'm not going to make it back, but it doesn't matter because no one would even care. This conversation made me think, what are they willing to survive for? You know, what will give them the strength to do what they have to do to survive? And I realized, well, a lot of it's got to be the beliefs that someone at home cares and wants them to come home.
The next day, Blashek started making and sending care packages to troops overseas, paying for everything out of her own pocket. Her house became a staging area, and she enlisted her family's help, including her then teenage son, Jordan.
There was a good few month periods where our entire living room was stacked to the top with boxes. Our entire front porch was covered. We had like a tiny little walkway to get through to the door.
Did they make sacrifices? Your husband go without home-cooked meals, that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. My husband has not had a home-cooked meal. Well, I guess since September 11th.
2001.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's why God invented takeout.
She now has corporate partners who donate goods by the truckload and a battalion of volunteers to help out.
Can you believe that this all came out of your living room?
No.
Her operation is big, but not impersonal. Every box goes out with a handwritten note of thanks, addressed to an individual soldier, sailor, or Marine, wherever they may be. The joy of getting a piece of the world they left behind has kept soldiers going for centuries. During the Civil War, mail call was common, if somewhat erratic. As one soldier wrote, "These 2 weeks have contained all the horror and fatigue that war can furnish. Your letters are the one pleasure." During World War II, a portion of the mail was photocopied and shipped on microfilm to save cargo space. The system, called V-mail, worked, except for what was known as the Scarlet Scourge. When a lipstick-wearing letter writer would kiss the page,
it would black out a portion of the letter, and because it would get reproduced when it was photo printed, and it would also gunk up the machines because the lipstick would get stuck in the machines.
Lynn Heidelbaugh is a curator of a military mail display at the Smithsonian's National Postal Museum that includes a Vietnam-era mailbag with one tiny problem.
They would put it in these waterproofed bags that were camouflaged, drop it from helicopters, but it would drop into the jungle foliage and get lost. So it got the mail out there, but the mail couldn't be found.
It all happens so much faster now. A Postal Service box can go from California to a frontline base anywhere in the world in days, not weeks. Operation Gratitude ships more than 100,000 boxes a year, and they're not alone. There are dozens of other outfits with a similar mission to support the troops, from Adopt a Platoon to the USO. And Carolyn Blashek, the suburban mom who was bent on keeping her children out of harm's way, also wound up inspiring both to serve. Daughter Jenna got a master's in social work and now helps children in Harlem. Her son Jordan graduated from Princeton and got accepted to medical school. But he came home at Christmas 2 years ago and told his parents something they never expected to hear.
I said, yeah, I got into medical school. However, I want to serve my country, and I'm joining the Marines.
I mean, honestly, what went through your head?
I mean, really, honestly, it was God bless you and keep you safe, that's all. I mean, how could I not be so proud? I mean, here, you know, for all these years, I've met so many people in the military who I admired so tremendously. How could I not want my son to become part of that?
Even with the risk that goes with it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's hard. I mean, but it's hard for any parent to let go of their child, even if they're just crossing the street.
First Lieutenant Jordan Blashek deployed to the Middle East last month. Even in war, gratitude, it seems, goes both ways. Sergeant Jim Morse knows what it's like to be on the receiving end.
That care package could have the one thing that Marine has been craving for months and, you know, hasn't been able to get his hands on. It could just be that one thing that tips the balance of whether he's going to have a bad day or a good day. Thank you so much for your time, effort, and love.
Like thousands of others, he wrote Carolyn Blashek a letter.
My Marines are faced with heavy combat, dealing with casualties, extreme heat, fatigue.
Most are still under 21. My boys fight like lions. Be proud of America's sons. They surprise me daily with the strength and bravery they possess. Your support brings us closer to home. Sergeant Jim Morse.
That got to you.
Well, because I could picture them.
You think about your son over there now, too?
Try not to.
This week, box number 750,000 is scheduled to roll off Carolyn Blashek's assembly line. She'll keep it running, she says, not just until her son comes home, but until they all do.